So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube? Dow here from Febuary Games. And it is the start of the brand new format. That is right, the ban list takes into effect as of today. And I thought it'd be a good idea, there we go. I thought it'd be a good idea to bring you guys a video of the 5 of the best decks of this current format, in my opinion. Now, a lot of decks got absolutely nuked and wiped out. The previous meta is now no longer the top decks, in my opinion. The decks will still be played, you'll still see Salad, you'll still see Orcust, whether they be used as an engine or an adapt of their own builds. And they will get better when we get Eternity Code. Don't forget, we also get Ignition Assault this week, or it's a sneak peek. So you will be getting slightly new cards for some decks, but I don't feel that any of the decks right now are going to be toppling the meta. Like, Ignistas will not be the best deck in my opinion, but you'll certainly get a couple of road decks as the meta starts to define itself. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you 5 of the best decks that I say either pick up now or start to build with and work with going into this new format. So, we'll start off with the decks that probably got the most plus from the ban list, and that is control decks. Any form of control deck, whether it be Altergeist, Paleotoads, or of course Subterrors. Now, Subterrors in my opinion probably got the best because they also got Lithosagan back. But the reason these decks are now going to be so much better is because they now have Triple Judgment, Triple Strike, and Triple Warning, and then their biggest threat, which was Red Reboot, is now at 1. So, rather than a scenario of Red Reboot, Judgment, Red Reboot, that's not even possible. Red Reboot, Judgment, done. That's it, the end. And then you're just going to keep going with the control, and you're going to have so much control in your back row that you're actually going to just wipe your opponent completely out. I feel Altergeists are going to compete quite a bit, but I think they're also going to have to step back because they're still a little bit struggle with their monster capabilities, but they still have Extravagance, and then they can play all their back row now and can really, really cause issues. Subterrors, we've got Lithosagan back because they are all Earth. You can actually start playing a bit more of an Archer build where you pop Archer, summon Lithogasm, rip your opponent's extra deck apart, and then get the summon off of Archer as well, which could be an Umastrix or a Guru, which can then continue to build your plays further forward and make it a little bit more consistent. Paleotoads, again, all they got was the warning and the fact that Red Reboot is not a thing, so they can still compete and they can still be very, very good. And Toad itself, Swap Frog, is a very, very powerful card because the fact it bounces itself back to hand for cost, if you have the ability to special summon it, you then get to normal summon it and then use its effect again, and then if you do have another Toad in hand, you can use that play to go forward as well. Then moving on to kind of like the 4th spot, or looking at this, you got decks like Madolche. Now Madolche actually started getting a bit of resurgence in the previous format and have been doing really, really well, but getting a bit more representation at big events and regionals. Now the reason this deck is so good is it has currently, I believe, 2 1-card combos, and these cards just go off. The issue is they do get struck quite hard with Call by the Grave and Ash Blossom Impermanence, stuff like that. But nonetheless, the deck is very, very powerful. The fact it has a non-target shuffle is insane. Like, you're just going to go non-target, shuffle those 2, non-target, shuffle those 2. It can actually break boards quite consistently and do that on a nice, easy, roundabout way. Not to mention that in Eternity Code, they get 2 brand new cards that are basically, here, have your own personal negate a card, banish, rip one card from your opponent's hand that is searchable, and have a spell card that is searchable that gives you an additional normal summon. Like, come on man, that's insane. So they're going to get those as well. Then of course, these next 3 decks, technically you put 4 in there as well, and I'm going to make a mention of this. So Burning Abyss or Block Dragon Burning Abyss, I personally feel are going to be a very, very fun and very, very powerful deck. And again, they get a little bit better closer we get to Eternity Code, and of course Dual Overload as well. But right now, the fact that Dante, the Dodge Master, has got away with that ban list yet again, not that he deserves to be hit on this one currently, but BA, especially with the Rock Stun that people are playing as well, is very, very good, very, very powerful, and very, very strong because it can go through Sarujas, Appaloozas, Cherubinis, and you got your Block Dragons, you got your BLS Link, not to mention Dante just looping, filling out your graveyard, and then it can end on like Fossadana as well. So it can build its board, Nat Beast, Saruja or Appaloosa, and then have a Fossil Dino as well that can be protected. So this deck is definitely, I don't think it's like top of the 5 best, but it's definitely be a deck that's going to cause a lot of issues because it is a very, very powerful deck and it is floating around there. Now onto kind of like the top 3 in my opinion. Moving in at 3, you got Dinos. Now, Dinos, the True King version lost Diagram. So what? They got Lithosagon back. So if you wanted to play a small Diagram engine, so Diagram and maybe Lithosagon, Barastos and Agamazud, you've got the ability to pop the babies in hand. And this was an issue in the past where you would pop the babies in hand, special summon Lithosagon, rip your opponent's extra deck apart, double baby would then go off, giving you 2 more dinos, you're getting an Overraptor Search, and then you get a UTC, and it just goes mental. And then in Eternity Code we get the Gem Crocodile, which is going to give you a Pill Searcher as well. Like, the deck is going to be insane. Connor Butcher took it to our regional yesterday, and he actually got quite hard, I believe he ended up finishing 2nd. So he did incredibly well with that. So they were doing that in the old format. Imagine what they're going to do in the new format when they've actually got a plus less than a loss as well. So definitely keep your eye on Dinos, they're going to be insane as well. And then of course Heroes. Now I still think Heroes are amazing, very, very powerful, and they only get stronger as time goes on. They're a very, very safe investment because this ban list doesn't have an expiration date as yet. So the idea is that this ban list will take us into Master Rule 5. Heroes get better in Master Rule 5. They've just had Liquid Man, they've just had Sunrise. So they've got 2 brand new cards that are making the deck better already. The only issue they currently have right now is they run head first into a Nibiru and a Super Poly. Faris is one of the most powerful cards in the entire hero deck, but because it locks you into Heroes, at this moment in time, Heroes don't have, well they technically do have a card, but they don't have a card that you're going to be playing that is easy to make, that can build into a negate, so they can't get into Appaloosa. So they can't stop that Nibiru being dropped to them. And the issue with Heroes is because they do that, there's no stopping point. If you go 4 summons and stop, your board is not strong enough. Your board is probably, if you're lucky, maybe a Dystopia and maybe a Darklaw. If you're lucky. But there's no other way to kind of contend with that. And then you're opening yourself up for Super Poly as well, even if you put down a Plasma. So 2 of the most powerful cards we've got right now for going 2nd players are going to deal with that. And then we get Lightning Storm in Ignition Assault as well. Now whether you'd play Ignition Assault or Lightning Storm at 3 or main it, it's probably more of a side deck card because it does require you to control no face-ups. But that again is where Subterrors can come in very, very handy, and also where Autoguts can come in very, very handy as well, as they can use and abuse that because they can just set their cards, get rid of their cards, and kind of go from there. But Heroes will be a very, very powerful deck. When Master Rule 5 comes, that's where it changes, because that is where you can start putting in previous negates before you get to your Faris, because the Faris will lock you out for the rest of the turn. So you have to be very, very careful on the way you build your board. But like I said, they just run. They've got no stopping power at this moment in time, and that's one very, very big weakness for them. And then my top deck that most of you have probably already cotton onto, Spyrals. They are insane. Insane. Magician Souls has made the deck 10 times better. So exactly like Spyral did with Quick, not saying that Souls is the same as Double Helix, but it's just kind of that power shift. So Spyrals before Souls was very, very good. Dark Warrior version and stuff like that, and it's very, very powerful, quite consistent. Souls has just made the deck even more consistent, and all of its closest competitors just got a massive knock. So do not be surprised if Spyrals start appearing at your locals, at your regional events, at your YCS events, and they start doing well. They are incredibly powerful, very, very hard to stop. They can dodge Super Poly because they don't need to end their board on 2 Dark Monsters. They might run into a Mud Dragon if you start playing that. And then they can also play for a Nibiru, because the way the deck kind of operates is they'll get to a point where they've got enough traps in grave that their next play will be, I'm going to make Appaloosa. You Nibiru me now, or I'm going to make Appaloosa and negate you, and I'm still going to build my board from there. So kind of like a play that I like to go to, you need to do it very, very early. The second they make 5 summons, you need to assess their board, assess their graveyard, see what they've got, see what they haven't got, and kind of judge, can they go further if I Nibiru them now? So as soon as they hit 5 summons, look. Then 6 summons, look, and keep an eye on it. The second they have enough to build in their graveyard, that's where you've lost the advantage. And the combo that I kind of go with right now is, I would do the whole Curious combo, and that's where I'm susceptible to Nibiru, so the sooner the better. As soon as you get to the Curious combo and you've got your Master Plan on board with your Curious, the chances are you've already got a Trap Engrave. So, and you haven't got the Field Spell by this point as well. So the idea is that you would link, if you're going to go against Nibiru, that is where I would use my Master Plan, and I would use my Curious and go into Appaloosa. So it's at that point that you've then got to decide, do I Nibiru now? And if you Nibiru at that point, my Master Plan is then going to get me the Field Spell, and it's also going to get me a monster as well, and then get another monster for that. So that gives me my sleeper play. If I've already got a trap in the graveyard, that's going to bring my Master Plan back and get me another trap anyway. And I'm just going to build my board. After that, I don't care. I can build my board back off of being Nibiru'd. So that's where you've got to be very, very careful with Spirals. If they do play the Scrap Engine, that will put them in Nibiru territory, to hit them as soon as they possibly can. You've also got to keep in mind that they could have a Danger and a Trap in hand. So as long as they've got a Spyral in graveyard, you're still in a little bit of territory danger. This is why I think DD Crow is going to be insane in this upcoming format. DD Crow, Master Plan, that's it, game over. If you DD Crow the right card in your opponent's Dino, game over. You DD Crow the right card in your Rock BA, game over. You DD Crow the right card in your opponent's Toads, or Altergeist, or Subterrors, again, game over. So DD Crow could be very, very powerful in the right deck, so keep that in mind as well. So that is it for 5 of my best suggestions of this upcoming format. We do have a couple of very fun videos coming up this week, so it's sneak peek this weekend for Ignition Assault. Rob has also found the Unchained Lore, so for the fans of our lore videos, we can actually do the Unchained Lore video, which is going to be insane, and I'm looking forward to that one myself. I've got a couple of test stand videos to come up for you guys, and a couple of other profiles falling off the back of Legendary Heroes. But for now, moving into this brand new format, which I'm quite happy about because the meta now opens back up at least for a month or two until it starts to define itself. So it's going to be very, very fun to see what happens. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.